afternoon, everybody. This is a meeting of the New Ulm Human Rights Commission. Today is Monday, November 23rd. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And the first thing that I would like to do is to approve the today's agenda. If somebody wants to add something or has a, yes, Commissioner.
I move to approve.
Okay. Before we approve, we go to I would like to add at the end, in number 12, I would like it to be, I have some concern about recent events going on that has me worried about discrimination against a certain group of people. And I would like to address that today and add that to the agenda. The last, if that's okay with everybody. So now we can have a motion.
Now I move to approve the minutes, and I think Commissioner Wendy does an excellent job.
Well, thank you. Except we're approving the agenda, right? I don't do that.
I second it.
Okay.
Good, everybody in favor?
Aye.
And if everybody get a chance to read the minutes of the October 26th meeting, do we have any comments or any corrections or any questions about them?
One comment was already made that they were awesome.
Right.
Very good. Yeah, and,
I make a motion to approve.
second?
Second.
Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I'd like to welcome our new commissioner, Jackie Krybel, and she expressed interest in presenting a very short PowerPoint presentation and the events in the agenda on number 8, and she will do that.
Right now?
No,
Okay.
later. So welcome, Jackie. I'm glad
you.
you decided to join us. Next thing in the agenda, Beth Burrows. She's closing the door. If you have an update for the League of Beth Burrows is our liaison with the Minnesota League of Human Rights Commissions.
And former member of the New Ulm Human Rights Commission as well for many years. After the last meeting, Linda and I ran into each other in the hall and realized that it was she and I that were the only two that had showed up for a number of meetings. So I had forgotten that it was you. So Linda carried the commission. No, I really appreciate your commitment, and because it could have very well gone by the wayside at that point when there weren't people that were interested in coming to the meetings at that time. So what I had said at the last meeting was I was so impressed with all the people that had the commitment and that have been coming to the meetings and have been showing some really good energy with the New Ulm Human Rights Commission. So thank you. The update that I have is that the League of Minnesota Human Rights Commissions had their annual meeting November 7th, so that would have been a couple of weeks ago. And it went well. The speaker was Andre Cohen. Andre Cohen is he's got some wonderful, wonderful topics that he talks about. And that day he was in his element because he was speaking to human rights folks. Typically he talks with people that are not human rights related and is able to sway them, in the human rights favor. So he was definitely very happy to speak with us at the annual meeting. There were not a lot of people there. Things happen. I understand. Last minute things come up, and sometimes human rights end up going in the back burner, and we've all got other things that come into play and that are, taking up our time. So next year we'll have a wonderful annual meeting, and hopefully you'll be able to come. I don't know when that's going to be, but one other thing that I wanted to talk with the local commission about is today will be my last meeting as the liaison. My term expires at the end of this year with the league. Okay. I had to end my involvement with the New Ulm Human Rights Commission a year and a half ago because I had moved out of town, outside the boundaries of the city of New Ulm. And so I was no longer able to be on the local commission, but I was able to complete my term at the league. But now that is coming to an end at the end of December. What I'd like to do is, they do make allowances for individual members. And so what I'd like to do is probably for at least another year as be an individual member. And that would certainly leave plenty of room in case there is anybody on the commission that would like to be part of the league. And I, I think I've asked you guys probably 20 times about
Yeah.
this. If there's anybody interested, I just want to make sure that I'm not closing the doors for anybody. And I want to make sure that people are definitely invited and welcomed to be part of that commission, and they would love to have somebody from outstate. New Ulm is pretty much the only outstate commission that has representation. All of the other commissioners are from either Minneapolis and
You
or
mean
St.
out of the
Paul.
city, out
Yeah,
of the
or the suburbs,
metropolitan area.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do they call that? The first ring, second ring
Right.
suburbs.
Yeah.
So they would love to have representation. So think about it.
Oh, well, as an individual member, can you still be our liaison with the league?
Well, if there's somebody from this commission that's interested in being and representing the New Ulm Human Rights Commission, then that person could be your
Would be the
liaison.
No, but yeah.
If things don't work out, then I would definitely be very happy to come back and give updates, maybe on a quarterly basis, if that sounds,
Yeah.
and then email the other.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's nice having you come and talk to us about those
Sure.
things because you are in the cities, and obviously that's really
Sure.
helpful and informative. So, one of the things that I would like to propose to the commission again is that we do pay for at least your mileage if
Oh.
you are be going to the cities and still be our liaison.
Oh,
I mean, in the past, the budget has been tight, but I think it's only fair. So I will talk to, but wait a minute, there might be a problem because you were not a
Right.
resident. That's right.
I
keep
think that's
forgetting. Okay, well, we'll talk about that.
I
yeah.
I very much appreciate your heart is in the right place. I think that it's a city regulation that
Yeah,
and
that's
they
right. I
had made
keep
that clear
forgetting.
to me.
Yeah.
So
I
I
Okay.
they might end up with all a morphing of people who want to
That's true.
get
Okay.
reimbursed for various meetings. If
No, we
they allowed
really
me.
greatly appreciate you
Oh.
coming and
Thank you very much, and I enjoy going to the meetings. And sometimes if I'm not able to go, then I can attend by phone. I really like
sounds good.
the flexibility. So I want to encourage any members, if they're interested in being part of the league, that I would also be part of as an individual. I'm thinking that I would like to do, and then if somebody is interested, that they could be the representative. So
Sounds good. Any other questions for?
What did you find out about the question about, for the state?
she said, meaning the
The contest.
the essay contest coordinator. She said that would be acceptable, and and that we'd see how things shake loose. That's not how she said it, but I don't think that the wording was that drastic of a change. I think it was the wording was changed to reflect our local area, but it wasn't that drastic of a change that the essays will be completely different than the other essays, and which is what you really want, is to have
Yeah.
the same across the board for all of the essays. But she definitely didn't say no, and she's upfront with people. So
That's
she
great.
she did say yes, and that we would see how it turned out, and she was happy to have our
And- and
involvement.
You know, in the past, some of the kids who have entered this contest have really gone way afield, on what they talk about, even in one topic. So, I mean, they probably wouldn't tell the difference.
I agree with you completely. They wouldn't know.
Okay.
And New Ulm is not the only commission that is that's feeling this way. There are a number of other commissions that asked to have that reworded, and it was reworded, and there's a number of other commissions that are still not. I think that they're feeling as if it's contrary or like they're trying to butt heads with the police or start something that may not be there.
Right,
Maybe it is
right.
there. Maybe, maybe it already is there. Well, actually, I think that there are some things that are definitely there, but not wanting the children to have to start something if there isn't something there for them at that time.
Right,
So
right, right.
anyways, there are a couple of other commissions that are going to choose, they are not going to be part of the state essay contest, but I like that you guys rewrote your own question to be very similar, but not as maybe antagonistic. I don't know if it was antagonistic, but I
Yeah.
think that people were feeling as if that it was. So
Yeah, they were assuming there was an issue when there really wasn't.
So I appreciate that you're able to work that in a respectful way.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good. So the next item in the agenda is the Education Committee report. And if somebody has anything that would like to present to the commission, I do have a couple of things that I'd like to say. I exchanged emails with Carla Hansel. Carla Hansel is a teacher at the high school. She works with 9th and 10th grade students. In the past, she's been very helpful in facilitating our poster and essay contest. She's really interested in educating the kids on social issues. And before this year, she used to be in, she would monitor a program called Character Counts for the kids, which was, part of social agenda, social things, issues that the kids would discuss in the high school. I'm trying to remember what topics they changed, but whatever. She's not doing that anymore, but she said that she is happy to hear that the high school students would be able now to participate in the essay contest. She also said that she thought that the youth representative was a great idea, and her feeling was that when the essay and poster contest is introduced this year, she wants to use this opportunity to talk about the New Ulm Human Rights Commission and its mission, and she's hoping that will spark interest in finding student representatives. So that's really good news, and she said if as soon as you're ready and this is approved, let me know, and they'll be ready to go. In regard to the topic, I asked her, well, what do you think of this topic of, police interaction with the community? She said that she had just had a conversation with a student that had just read Black Like Me. I don't know if you guys are, familiar with that book. And Carla made a reference to the Black Lives Movement. So the student believed that most of what is going on right now with the police and the community is because Black people are breaking the law. She feels that the students aren't as well informed as they could be, and that we are living more and more in a homogeneous community. So she said it would be very interesting to see how they respond to this topic, which is, what I've been thinking. I think that we don't need to say much, just talk about the issue, and they have always surprised us with some of their insights. So this made me feel much more comfortable about, keeping to the topic. So the question to be debated in this topic is whether minorities are being treated in the same way as other people. Some education on the topic would be helpful. And wouldn't it be cool if we could get the League of Women Voters to hold this debate? I have already talked to the League of Women Voters, and right now I am trying to do some research and contact other sources from other police departments or other entities that might come and talk to us about that issue. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I like the essay and poster contest. Ask for actions, steps that can be taken to improve relationships between minorities and law enforcement. I fear that because students are so removed from a clear understanding, you will end up with a superficial answer. But I might be wrong. After all, look at the results from last year's contest and the bullying contest. So I think we'll get some interesting entries. There was really, this is a good one for the commission. There was a really good article in today's paper about the gag painting as not being accurate as it depicts the Indians shirtless. I don't know if you guys saw that article. Interesting response for the president of the Wanda Gag House. Lots to discuss there. There's so many issues that are pertinent to NEOM. Even the general topic of racism as it pertains to stereotypes is still relevant. As an English teacher, I'm recognizing the importance of the novels we're requiring, and she goes on, she talks about, what should we read, Kill a Mockingbird and all that stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that we can discuss at some other time. So that was her response to my question about the topic, about the student representative. I'm really happy about that. Now, the original question that came from her to me was if she could borrow the posters for her classroom. I said I didn't think there was any problem, but I wanted to ask the commission if that was okay with you guys. I think she wants to borrow it for the month of January to put in her classroom and talk about the posters.
The posters were, at least the ones from the high school, were created in her classroom. She's the teacher that had her class do those group posters.
Oh,
So that was,
I thought that was from the west of the river bend.
that was our first place winner.
Oh,
And
okay.
The ones where we had the groups, where we had
That's
three
right, that's
and
it.
4 kids working, that was all from this teacher's classroom.
Yeah.
So I would think ituld be completely appropriate to
Yeah,
let her
no,
use
no
those
kidding.
again.
See, I didn't realize that. I forgot about that. I think very. And when I said, I'm still, I'm very, very, don't want to give it to just one person, because it's really, from all the people that created like one poster. What I told her is, right now, I'm going to make sure that I have very good photographs and records of that poster. Who knows? Maybe we can have it reproduced professionally to use either as a poster for us, for the NEOM Human Rights Commission, or for, postcards or something. So that I want to make very sure that we have a record. And then after that, maybe it'll be like a traveling poster exhibit. Maybe we can use it when we go to, events or shows or whatever. Maybe, they can be borrowed by social studies teachers. So if it's okay with everybody, I will lend it to her.
And I would think clarify with her too, because she might just be asking for the ones from her classroom from last year.
Oh.
too. That might just be what she wants.
Oh,
So
okay,
maybe
I
just
will.
Clarify.
I
first.
will. Yeah, I assume she wanted all of them, or she wanted all of them and just choose whichever she wanted to put up. I don't know if she has space to put. They're still up, And the only reason I'm going to take them down is because both Chris Wiley and I are worried that they might be damaged. Somebody has already written in them one time, so I have to go erase and fix it. So I don't want anything to happen to them. So.
And
So-
I imagine that would be a risk, if they're traveling too.
That's true, but again, that's why we keep good records and photographs.
Yep, yep.
We should be okay. So, as a side note, just as far as education goes, when we bring videos for the commission to watch, or and this, like today, PowerPoint presentations, we remember this gets incorporated in the videotapes that NewCat takes, and they get broadcast. So it's an opportunity really we should be taking as part of the education committee. And the only thing is, whoever presents something or any videos, we got to make sure that the copyright issues are clear. that anything we show, and you can, and I do volunteer for them, and I'll try to make sure that, there's never a problem. But that's the only thing that we have to be careful about. And usually if you ask, whoever produces this video, especially if they know it's for a nonprofit or a human rights, agency, they're fine with with allowing us to show them as part of our meeting. So what we need to do right now. Oh, I'm sorry. I have so many things going on here. I had also chat with Commander Brokert. I don't never know how to pronounce his name. Dave Borkert. And I told him what we were planning, and he thought it was a great idea. And I said I really would like him to come and talk to us about some of the questions that we had, and interestingly enough, we have questions the same as the League of Women Voters. Like, for example, when you get stopped by the police, what are the basics? What are the bases for stopping you? And he started telling me all this stuff, and said, wait, why don't you come or have somebody come and talk to us about all of these questions that the community has? And I don't know if he will, but he recommended 3 people that would be very good to come and talk to the commission, or if we have a question and answer or a forum or whatever. One was Sarah Schilling. I think she's pregnant, but that might be a good time to get her, because she's not out there in the street, so she could come and talk to us. The other one would be Tara Martin. I don't know if anybody knows her. I don't. And the other one would be the officer that's assigned to the high school, and he's Mike Bremer. So he said any of those 3 people would be good to come and to talk to us or be in a forum or answer questions. Like I said before, I really would like to get somebody from outside the New area to come and talk about these issues, because, while we might not have issues in New, our kids are going to be out there, we go out there, and it's not a matter of education too, but maybe there's a way of preventing it. Like Carla says, we're getting a much more, diverse community now, and there might be a way of preventing some of these things. So I will try to do that for sure for next meeting, and then maybe we can arrange for something, see which resources we have. And finally, I would like us to approve and just come to an agreement if we're going to use the topic as we rewrote it. Any ideas on that subject?
You're talking only for the essay, right?
Well, remember, we have one for the essay and one for the poster. And I just want to make sure that everybody's on board on using what Tom Nass wrote. I think I might still have one in here. I didn't bring it. Let me see. Does anybody have the original one for? Oh, here. I have it. You want me to read it again, both the essay and the poster? In the past year, there has been tension between minorities and law enforcement officials in some American cities, with accusations of excessive use of force. Please describe what should be expected in the treatment of minorities by law enforcement officials in order to preserve their human rights. Suggest some things that could be done to improve relations between minorities and law enforcement officials so they will interact in a proper way with mutual respect. Reference pertinent sections of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the United States Bill of Rights, or the Minnesota Human Rights Act. That's the one for the essay, as written by Commissioner Nass. And if you remember, I had added, if you or someone close to you has had a negative experience, a negative or a positive experience involving law enforcement. Describe the experience and how that has affected you. I think some of the commissioners didn't think that was necessary, which was fine with me. And again, I guess maybe I really wanted it in there, but like Carla says, they'll surprise you anyway. They'll think about that. So what I would like to see today is ask for a consensus if we will use the essay instructions and the essay topic as Commissioner Nast wrote it.
I think since the league is willing to accept that as well, then I don't see why we wouldn't.
Is everybody in agreement? Yeah, and that was what we had discussed before.
One thought, again, that's assuming that the tension is a fact. Would it be, I'm kind of analytical, would it be appropriate to say the news have reported that there is tension between, that's what we're hearing. I'm not there. I don't know if there's tension or not.
I don't have any doubt that there is a tension. I mean, I think that I've been there. I know that there is there.
tension,
Yeah,
okay.
no, I mean, unless somebody disagrees, but I think there is definitely a problem just because we don't see it in here.
I think you can say there's tension, but then what's alleged is if people are being treated fairly or not. That's where what's unclear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want assumptions to be made.
Right, yeah, and that was the problem we had with the original topic, you know. There was assumptions. I think that there's no question about there is tension. There is problems, just because we don't have them in here. I mean, they're there. You have to take my word for it.
Even if there's not tension, I think, I agree that there is tension, but I think it also creates a distrust.
Immediately.
Even if it hasn't, you know, if the tension hasn't happened to you, it still puts it in the back of your mind. You know, is there not as much trust as there should be with law enforcement?
And I know personally, as a, you know, I cannot talk about it, I promise. And it's for somebody else to bring this issue to whoever. But I do know for a fact that there is at least one person that distrusts the police. Why? I have no idea. It was just brought to my attention and on a, you know, just confidential basis. And if something comes up, I certainly will bring it to the commission. So I know that there is at least one problem in the city, for sure.
And I think we need to acknowledge too that it's not just one way, it's not just mistrusting the police, but I think it's also people then that are mistrusting minorities because of that. I mean, it goes both ways.
Depends on which side you fall.
Which side you're on, exactly.
And by the same token, I have to tell you that I have some friends, immigrants from Africa, who I have asked them, have you ever had any problem with discrimination, with racism, or in this instance, specifically the police? And they said, absolutely not. They're being so helpful. You know, every time they come, they ask us, they have approached them and asked them about, you know, why are you here? Oh, because I'm dropping some keys in this lot. Oh, have a good day. You know, so, and that's the kind of thing that we want to educate people. It goes both ways. The respect how you treat the police and how the police should treat you. So I have been hearing both sides of the issue right now, and opinions both positive and negative. So
And the way the question's worded, where it asks about how to foster mutual respect, I think that is good.
yeah,
So I say we
So,
keep it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I guess we could actually ask for a vote. We can have a motion to use the essay topic as it written by Commissioner Nast. Do I have a motion to vote? Second? Okay, everybody in favor? Aye. That's so unanimous then. Now, for the poster, let me read it. In the past years, there has been tension between minorities and law enforcement officials in some American cities, with accusation of excessive use of force. Since our society values human rights, we know that minorities should be treated in the same way as other people by law enforcement officials, and there should be mutual respect between them. Please prepare a poster that deals with this issue, presenting in a positive way how minorities and law enforcement officials interact. I guess my concern in that one was just in a positive way, because that is just as leading as and in a negative way. I would take that out and I would just say, please prepare a poster that deals with this issue, presenting how minorities and law enforcement officials interact.
I think honestly that we need to just start over with the essay contest, or question, considering the age groups that we are going to be dealing with. We're gonna have to word this differently for each age group. When we're
Oh,
talking kindergartners,
Mhm.
that would
Oh,
be completely
okay.
inappropriate.
You mean for the poster?
For the
We need
poster
to,
contest, that's what
yeah.
I just said it wrong, the poster
Yeah.
contest. So I think we should just table that for now, and maybe the education committee can meet. I think we're going to need different wordings for each age group.
I think you're absolutely right. And in the past, the teachers have acted, when we have a specific contact with one teacher that makes it a specific project for their class, they have filtered it. They have actually, somehow the teacher itself explained it to the level of the class, of the age of the class. So, yeah.
Because I can even see us
Mhm.
broadening that, and when
Mhm.
we're talking a poster contest, I don't know that it needs to be so specific, but maybe you talk about mutual respect between institutions and community members, and how, just to broaden it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to have a lot more talk about that before we decide.
Yeah, and that could be done like we did with the topic, just the education committee getting together and ironing it out. But the outline, in principle, we agree that we'll still use the police relations as a topic. Yes? Or no?
I'd personally like to see it a little more broad and not
Broad.
that
Oh,
narrow.
yeah.
But I can be,
What do you mean more broad or?
I mean,
Uh,
just, I mean, not just keeping it with police and community, but I think just,
Oh.
especially when you're talking about the younger kids who have had probably just such limited experience, and
Uh-huh.
they're too young for social media. What about mutual respect? How can people of authority treat people in the community and vice versa with respect?
There are families, or there may be families where those kindergartners or first graders, young elementary school, have seen the negative effects as well, though, between interaction of their friends, of whomever, if they feel the law enforcement interaction. Because you see articles where there was a 5-year-old or their young school children that do see things happen, that they might have a steady feeling about it.
True, but I think we need to, for a poster contest like that, not be kind of looking for reporting of events that, okay, yeah, I've had this negative feeling, but how can we promote more positive interactions? Not, even if they have had a negative, I don't know that we want a poster of that. Do you know what I mean?
My concern is we take it away from the police. I mean, the police is part of authority, but they're also very specific authority, because they're the only ones really who enforces the law.
But in
I mean,
a
yeah,
child's world, you could be teachers, you could be, people of authority wouldn't necessarily need to be law enforcement
I
authority.
think there's social workers out there and everybody.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
sure.
just not the police that we should just target the police
Right.
because they're trying to help and
Oh, no, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that we more targeting. I think that the difference between how a lot of us in the community feel about the police and how some of the black community feels in the police is we see a policeman and we're happy to see a policeman. That's just the plain truth. And a black community, black bunch of kids see the police and they're scared, or they already, pushing. They're already, and that's where the problem is.
but
We-
there again, you're assuming that. Do you know that for
Oh,
sure?
and that's my point.
Yeah.
How do you educate kids to see that they are there, like you say, to help?
And I think young
Uh-huh.
kids don't have this thing like we do as older people.
That's true. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, because I think that young people Okay,
Right.
there's, you know, now there's interaction with, it could be from a black kid, a Indian. I mean, they play together. They don't.
They don't, right?
They don't see anything like this. And I think sometimes we lead them into something.
Well, yeah.
Well, if we're using this contest as a education piece, we're educating kids, then we should be promoting what positive interactions would look like, or what positive interactions could be. And I think we just, when we narrow it, like how are I just think we're not so much educating then, we're asking for negative responses, and
I can see your point, yeah, yeah. Okay.
But
I
to
think-
the person in authority and let them decide who that is.
Right.
For that relationship.
I think then we should talk more about, you know, in the education committee, how we're gonna phrase that depending on the age of the student. Of course, you're talking to the woman whose first rule is question authority, so I don't know if I'm good at, I should not be in that committee. Anyway, so let's table that then, but I don't want to we should do this very soon, because I do want to, last year, I think it was your suggestion, Commissioner Ringhofer, that if we get it, like, I think we did it right at the beginning of the year, we didn't give them that much time. It had to get done. That we had very good results. If we just say, oh, no, we're going to start now, but you have a lot of time, they don't get it done. So I think by after the beginning of the year, we should be ready to go.
Okay.
Is that okay? We'll set up then a committee meeting of education to discuss that.
Excuse me. Commissioner Jackie maybe would like to decide if she wants to be on the education committee.
I have that in my, it's coming. And I
She'd
wrote-
like
I
to
know,
decide,
so- Yeah, I was just gonna look and see who would need here. The education committee right now is made out of Thomas Navs, Lori Oswald, Wendy Ringhofer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the bands is Linda Wellman, Karen Christensen, Hank Exo, and Karen Limbo, who's gone. So we need somebody in the events. And I'm floated around. I'll serve in whichever committee. And I think Tim said the same thing. Tim said he will serve in whichever committee. So, Jackie, do you have any preference for education committee? Yeah, okay. I figured. Okay, and we'll
Side
put,
of the table.
and we'll put Tim in the events committee. So that'd be great. So I guess that's it. We're pretty much done then with the education committee. I'd like to talk a little bit about the budget. When we talked about expanding the contest, for other, chop it up in groups, basically expanding more the groups, we figured that we're gonna run into problems with the budget if we want to offer the same amount for the prizes. So my friend Ruth Ann Webster, I asked her, so is there any way that we can get more money? She said, talk to Brian Bremitz. And I did. And he was very nice. He said, you know, I figured that we diversify the contest the way we have been talking about in different groups. We needed about $750 more. So I went to him, I gave him a revised budget and said we need about $745 more, which would bring our budget from $1,700 to $2,495. And he said he thought that would be possible. Not for sure, but because he has to go through the council, he has to, but I told him why. And I think if, and you know, he said, we're not talking about millions, you know, not even thousands, we're just talking a few hundreds. And he said he thought it was possible. So hopefully we can get that and we won't have any any problem with the thing. The other thing, I did talk also with Lisa Lisa Grathwold upstairs, is that one of the reasons why sometimes I personally would like to go to forums or symposiums related to human rights is because, especially in the winters, it's happened one time before that the city paid for my registration and I never made it because of the weather, family emergency, or whatever. So I asked her if I go at the last minute, and I know most of those places will let you in at the last minute, you can register that morning. If that was okay with the city, and what problem would that be? And she said, fine, as long as I can present to the city a receipt and, some proof that I was there in the symposium, whatever, she's fine. So I would like, to maybe attend more of these things, which would be also within the budget, to get reimbursed for something. And I believe that any of the other commissioners that one, I think you can attend to. But do you remember, Mayor Bosman, if that was good? I think you can, yeah. So if you would like to attend, even at the last minute, if there's not going to be a snowstorm and everybody's healthy and you want to go, please let Lisa know. And I think that I'd like that to be very much part of the budget. Good.
When would we know about the budget? Because, and if we weren't approved for that, would we still keep the
Right.
different categories and then just make the prize amounts last?
I think I have a fallback plan instead, which we will work with the budget. But the council thing is the beginning of December, and I think we should know by then.
Okay.
So for sure, by our next meeting, we will know. Any other?
Preliminary budget is in, now it gets, depending on, maybe approved as is, or maybe a little carving
Tweaking.
here and carving there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I felt a bit confident that, it was not a big request, humongous amount and of course, in past years, we have never even come close to really, using the whole budget, or maybe close. But this year, we spent every penny. So that was good. That was good. All right, any other questions about the budget? All right, so the events committee. The only thing pending for the events committee is for next year's award nominations, which actually are this year's nominations, because we're nominating somebody for the 2015 award. That is something that I would really like to get started right away, to start soliciting nominations from the public as soon as possible. And again, of course, and then the commissioners too. I think a lot of times the commissioners have much better ideas of some people that have, been active in human rights. So could we start maybe even as early as January to solicit nominations? Or right away? I mean, we can do it right now.
I don't think we should do it over the holidays.
Please.
People
So
are too
January?
busy to look
Okay.
at papers half
Are
the time.
And I think since we just awarded it too, maybe give
That's
it a little
true.
padding.
You're right. I
Are
didn't
there-
think about that, yeah.
Is there a commission form you want the commission to use, or the nominator to use, or is there a specific form?
There is no form. In the past, we just wrote something on the paper. We sent the press release, which what we have used in the past for what do we want on an organization or somebody that's being nominated. I will have Lisa send it to all of you, and
I appreciate that.
so that you can start looking and so that. So, what time is it? Let's get on to our new commissioner, Jackie Crable, wants to show a very short PowerPoint presentation on a topic that we talked about last time, and that would be of interest to the community because there has been issues with this particular topic. So Jackie and Ron, can we start the PowerPoint presentation, or you're gonna start it?
That's right.
Okay.
I wanted to bring trafficking or human trafficking out and to everybody. It's a very uncomfortable subject that not a lot of people want to talk about. I know it was tough for me to talk to my daughter about it, but uncomfortable doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be talked about. So I'm just gonna, it's a short PowerPoint. What is sex trafficking? Human trafficking, often referred to as modern-day slavery, is the sale of adults and children into commercial sexual servitude and forced or bonded labor. It's the second largest and fastest growing criminal industry in the world. How does the market work? Recruit, supply, demand, distribute. 75% of the victims are recruited online. They're recruited, they go into the supply, the Johns demand for the prostitution, and the pimps then distribute. Who is involved? It's hard to see the graph there, but the average age of the facilitators or pimps is 31. Of the sex buyers is 42, and the average age of the actual prostitutes is 15. Where are they recruited from? Social media, like it showed before, is the highest. Shelters, parks, malls, schools, libraries. And the actual sex trafficking occurs in many places: hotels, motels, on the street, truck stops, strip clubs, trap houses, which is like the pimp or facilitator has an apartment or a house that the business is done in. Massage parlors. This is kind of hard to see as well, but the dark side of Minnesota. The FBI has identified the Twin Cities as one of 13 U.S. cities with a high incident rate of child prostitution. By a very conservative measure, a November 2010 study found that each month in Minnesota, at least 213 girls are sold for sex, an average of 5 times a day, through the internet and escort services. Now, as crazy as that number sounds, that also does not take into consideration street or gang activity or hotel activity. In the same study, it found that on any given weekend night in Minnesota alone, 45 girls under the age of 18 are sold for sex through the internet classified websites and escort services. Investigators found that from 3 states determined that Minneapolis was the home base of a large domestic prostitution or sex trafficking ring comprised of 3 generations of one Minnesota family that was prostituting mainly young girls from across the U.S. About 50% of women interviewed as a part of that 2010 study focused on North Minneapolis stated they were first traded for sex when they were under the age of 18, with the average age being 13. Scary truth. The average life expectancy for a juvenile who has started being prostituted is 7 years. More adolescent girls are commercially sexually exploited in 1 month in Minnesota than there are teen girls who died by suicide, homicide, and accidents combined in an entire year. Then there are women who died from complications due to AIDS in 1 year. There are female infants who died from SIDS in 1 year. And this one, it hits home the most, I think, is that more adolescent girls are commercially sexually exploited in 1 month in Minnesota than there are women of all ages murdered in 1 year. Oops, let me go back. The average age of entry into prostitution in Minnesota is 12 to 14 years old. And 90% of the victims in Minnesota are born here in Minnesota. What's being done? Minnesota is one of just a handful of states that have enacted the safe harbor law, which means that youth who engage in prostitution are no longer criminals, but are rather victims and survivors of sexual exploitation. It treats the exploited children as victims in need of protection and not criminals. Increases the fines on the Johns or of the buyers to create a funding stream for supportive services. And I don't remember how they worded it, but the cost effectiveness is for every dollar we spend, it gives $34 of help in the future for helping these people that are trying to get out. Resources is something Beth mentioned earlier today about Breaking Free. It's an organization to educate and provide services to women and girls who have been victims of the commercial sex exploitation. There are numerous hotlines, the National Human Trafficking Resource Center hotline, along with the Runaway Intervention Project, and PRIDE, which is Prostitution to Independence, Dignity, and Equality. And that's it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Can you, oh, I have it. No, I was gonna say the website or the link. I will make sure that all the commissioners get it in case they want to see this again.
Okay.
So, Commissioner Kribel, would you be interested in maybe seeing we can have somebody come to address the commission, either on more about the subject, so to go more in depth, or specifically about Brown County and Neom? I know that there has been some stuff going on in Neom to that effect, some sting operation, stuff like
I
that.
think that New Ulm or Brown County has gotten extra funding for sex trafficking specifically with, and I know it hit pretty close to home here the last year, 6 months with that being, brought to light in Mankato and here in New Ulm. Once I started looking into this information, there's multiple, actually, where I got most of the information are from groups, advocacy groups here in Minnesota. And I had emailed one of the chairs for that group, and they've got some meetings, end of the year stuff that's going on, but she passed on my name and email to the people that do the programs. So I'm kind of waiting to hear back. Was hoping I would have more information before I came in today, but I'm kind of on hold on that end, but I'd love to, yes.
Yeah, well, certainly keep us informed if you have any other ideas, and we can, have some education programs or, some more advertising of resources. So,
Well, and like the PowerPoint shows, 12 to 14, and I have a 12-year-old daughter, and
that's scary. Yeah.
It's terrifying, and it's one of those things after I read the article and then it happened, there was the sting in Mankato. We talked about it and she's like, they don't have any of this information. When you're already 12, I think that's something that definitely needs to be shared to at least try and stop it.
Yeah, and I would like to point out to the parents how important it is to keep those line of communication open, because that's one of the, ways that you can find out if anything is gone. And I know some parents are reluctant to talk about this.
A huge draw, and it doesn't mean that they're getting more, but it doesn't slow down the process either, is the Super Bowl. Because there are hundreds and thousands of people that are coming in from out of state. And with Minnesota hosting the Super Bowl, I believe next year, is that correct? I think it's something that is another good reason to get it out.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else has any questions for our new commissioner? Great. So, next in the agenda is, where am I in here? I'm lost. I'm lost there. Here we go. Oh, the new commissioners and new before I go any farther, and I forgot to bring this up under the events committee, I'd like to point to the package that you got with a thank you note from Allison and Pam Klosner Miller for our work with the award. So if everybody had a chance to see it in their package, and if not, I have a copy too, if you want to see it. The new commissioners and youth representatives. We are now in the position that I know for sure we're gonna need one new commissioner in January. I think there's no better people that can be recommending to the mayor appointees than the people already in the Human Rights Commission. I've already given him a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people that I think would be good or have been highly recommended by other people that I know that would be good for this commission. Just really quickly, I would like to read you the guidelines for the selection of candidates as they are written now in the bylaws. This is according to bylaws that we have. The individual as a member of a protected class. Okay, these are the guidelines for the selection of candidates. 1, the individual is a member of a protected class or has regular contact with issues affecting them. Number 2, the individual is familiar with issues that result in discrimination of those in protected class. 3, the individual expresses a commitment to improving the human rights atmosphere of Neom. Number 4, the individual acknowledges the need and potential for strong human rights protection assured through the Minnesota Human Rights Law, or in this case is the Minnesota Human Rights Act. I would very much would like to encourage you and anybody who wants to nominate somebody and ask the mayor to take an account or to take a look at these things to keep these things in mind when he appoints commissioners. I would like them to, the new commissioners, to have at least basic knowledge of human rights as defined by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, by the Minnesota Human Rights Act, or by the U.S. Human Rights Act, no, rights, what is the United States? But the United States has a Bill of Rights, right? Yes, because the United States doesn't have like a human rights constitution or anything. They have the Bill of Rights, right? Okay, anyway, so at least I know that they have an idea what human rights means. I mean, is that something that it seems reasonable to the commissioners?
I would like to even see it go a step farther and have someone who agrees to be a human rights
Okay.
commissioner.
Oh,
say
well,
that-
let me finish my other point.
right.
So I like also keep in mind that or to make sure that appointees are prepared to discuss and allow discussion of human rights issues. As I've said before to you guys, human rights are some of the most controversial issues of ever. Like, take, for example, the right for women to vote, emancipation, intermarriage, interracial marriage, stuff like that. So what I want to see somebody who's willing to talk about the issues and is willing to allow the commission to bring these issues to the forefront. And I understand where we don't want to create an issue when there's none, but I think it's very important to still bring an issue to the forefront to make sure that we know what's going on. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm putting it right, but yeah, basically, yeah. I like people to be able to I want to be able to discuss all issues. Does that make sense? And I also would like commissioners that are proactive in finding solutions to threats and violations to human rights in our community. It's important to point out the problems, but also to participate in the solution, whether it's a dialogue, activism, education. And finally, I would like appointees to know that there is a certain time commitment and some standards of attendance, which this commission can actually establish in the bylaws. The bylaws are very old. We really need to go over them. I mean, even the number of commissioners and stuff like that, and we have the power to do that. And the officers, that kind of thing. And next time, I will make sure that everybody gets a copy of the current bylaws and see what needs to be changed. The other thing is it has come to my attention that some of the people that we would like to serve or that have been recommended to serve in the commission have a problem with the time of 4:30. I've heard somebody say that even 50 minutes would be a great helping here, especially for the ones who work out of town. I talked to Lisa this afternoon and asked her, so what are the chances that we can move it? I mean, I'm assuming move it to even to 5 o'clock. She said she doesn't see any problem. The mayor just said that he's had the same problem with other commissions, and that maybe we can change every year so that you can please everyone. So what are your feelings about that? I know that one of the people that I would very much like to serve in this commission, one of the reasons that he said he wouldn't is because 4:30 is just really hard to get here. I don't know if 5 o'clock is going to help very much, but it might. What are your feelings about that? Would 5 o'clock work better for some of you? Maybe not.
4:30 is really hard for me to get here.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer meeting later.
Me
So,
too.
Yeah,
5 o'clock would be fine with me.
5 o'clock would be fine to me, too. How about you?
I'd rather not.
I'd rather not. I know. But would it be,
It'd
make
be
a
fine.
difference? It would
It'd be
have
fine.
Yeah,
That's
all right.
fine.
Okay. So what I would like to do then is to see if we can push it and from now on start meeting at 5 o'clock, if that's agreeable. And then the new prospects will tell them that, it'll be 5 o'clock. I'll talk to Lisa and everybody. Wonderful.
Start the next meeting then,
I
perhaps?
will let you know.
Okay.
I will let you know. If you're all in agreement, I will let you know if we can start at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So just going back to what I propose for guidelines for new commissioners, you have any comments, any?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I think I was just very troubled by the fact that we can have people on our commission that don't necessarily agree with all human rights. And I think that needs to be a basic understanding that if you serve on this commission, you support all human rights.
It's all or none.
It's all or none.
I agree.
I don't think
Yeah.
we as a commission should debate human rights. I think that should be already decided before you get to this spot.
As a previous chair of this commission, Beth Burrows, do you have any input on this, on this subject?
I agree. It's not up to me, but I ran into that a number of years ago where not only was the person not on board with the human rights, but was making racial comments. And it became clear to me at that time that I think that people are entitled to their opinions. But if you're going to put yourself forward and say that you're a human rights commissioner for the city of New Ulm, that you probably should represent this commission as somebody who is in favor of all human rights for everybody, and it's not really up to any of us which ones we pick and choose. And so I did have a conversation with that person, and fortunately he agreed with me. And I don't think that he really wanted to be on this commission anyway. So it worked out well for in that particular instance. But it also reflects on each one of you if there is somebody that is not on board with all human rights, then it makes the commission look less than, or maybe some of the others. It puts a question in people's minds if there are people out there saying that they're a commissioner, that is it possible that others pick and choose as well?
Yeah.
So it does reflect on the rest of the group, but that's my opinion. So you get to choose.
Thank you, and that's all I wanted to say. I think that it is possible for somebody to serve in this commission that does not agree. Let's say, for example, this is just an example, somebody that is for the death penalty and still advocate or allow discussion on whether the death penalty is a violation of human rights or not. Do you agree with me, or you don't think so? Just an example. Let me throw the example out there. I don't want to discriminate. I don't want this commission to discriminate against somebody because they have certain, spiritual beliefs, or religious beliefs, or cultural beliefs that perhaps are very much against, 'cause, pretty much, well, actually, in some states and some in the United States allows the death penalty.
Right.
So
Right.
how do we, I'm sorry. You see what I mean? Yeah, that's the only thing that troubles me.
Well, I guess I was referring more to human rights that have been decided on by the Supreme Court of the United States, and it's not debatable anymore.
And that's what I was saying.
In favor of it.
Right, and
Or-
that's the one when I was saying, that they have to be on board with what's already there, the Bill of Rights, but I think the UN Declaration of Human Rights, I think they're against the death penalty. And that's not what we're discussing. I'm just discussing the issue of, can you keep your beliefs still and be in this commission and need to advocate? Do you need to advocate or be active, or is it just a matter of allowing the exchange of opinions, the discussion of these issues?
But I guess there's some things that aren't left to an opinion anymore once they're decided.
Right,
Death penalty
right.
is still debatable.
Okay,
But there
and
are
that
certain
answers,
do you know what I mean? I
But
don't think that
sure.
that's.
Well, and I think if you have to say, I feel this way, but shouldn't, that's
Right.
where then you automatically, no, you don't
Yeah.
feel
Or-
that way.
Or if there's a individual who's part of
Yeah.
population that's not the majority, should be able to come to this commission and expect 100% support with
Right,
anything. And
yeah,
if we're debating amongst ourselves whether that person even is entitled to their human rights, I just,
Right,
I just
yeah,
have a really
I
hard
know.
time
I
with
mean, the best example is the same-sex marriage. I mean, it doesn't matter what some of what everybody in this commission should be on board with that, because that's not debatable anymore.
Right.
Is that, okay, so I think we are kind of on board of what we want for a commissioner, for, incoming commissioners. Are we? Okay, yeah, go on, Beth.
You had mentioned about the death penalty. I just wanted to remind everybody that in the state of Minnesota, that it's got to do with people cannot be discriminated against if they're a protected class as far as housing, employment, public assistance, those kinds of things.
Right.
If we can kind of keep that in mind. Private citizens, unfortunately, are able to discriminate. They can state their own opinions. Local commissions, local commissions cannot make decisions based against a protected class. So what you're saying is, yes, we all do need to be on board. Unfortunately, regardless of what you think, then you'll need to keep your opinions to yourself. If you are going to be part of the commission, you can't discriminate against protected classes. So it's local commissions, it's employment, public accommodation. Public services, and public housing, and And you think, so what my point is, I'm sorry, I'm going down a path that I,
No, it's okay.
it's,
Yeah, yeah.
the death penalty is certainly something that's debatable, but it's not something that's, that
Okay.
is a service that the state of Minnesota is not going to discriminate against the protected classes as a part of. Does that kind of make sense? Am I kind of,
Mhm.
or am I muddying the waters more?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
It does, it does. Yeah. Sounds good. Well, I think, maybe it's getting late. I will adjourn. Just before I leave, I'll just like to very quickly say that with all of that stuff that is happening in the world, I'm very concerned that we're a lot of people, a lot of officials are having the tendency to discriminate against one religious group. I mean, in this case, it's the Muslims. I have a problem with them discriminating and about any religious group for whatever reason, whether it's only, for immigration or for, bugging religious institutions and stuff like that. I just want to bring that up to the commission because I'm really bothered. I would like maybe if we can come to a consensus to write like a resolution saying that that kind of discrimination against an ethnic group or a religious group or something is totally inappropriate. But we'll have to. I like to just to bring it up to you and have you guys think about it. Maybe we can talk about it later in a later meeting. Because I'm very troubled by that. It's getting to be like, okay, yeah, well, maybe we need to discriminate, So that's all I have to say about.
I think it's
That's
worthy
all
of
then.
discussion when we have presidential candidates advocating for keeping tabs on certain religious groups. I mean, it's worthy of
Making them
discussion.
register, it just is
Right.
going down a terrible path.
Right, so absolutely.
Yeah, and what is happening is that we're giving the terrorists what they want. That's the worst part about it. That's what they want. They want to create division. They want to create hate, and it's just self-defeating. Not to mention what it does to the rest of us. So,
I have a student that's with me right now, is from Somalia and is a Muslim. Had fantastic conversations with her about that issue, so I can support. And I think her comment is there's just such an amazing misunderstanding of what Muslim religion is, what this group, in terms of this terrorist group is, and she says terminology like ISIS shouldn't be used, and they're not Islamic State people, and she just went on about the great lack of education these young people are having. They don't have the Muslim education anymore to even know what Muslim religion truly is, which is not Allah accusing people of death, but rather a God just as you and I have, just as others may have. And so it was she's been very interesting to speak to. In fact, I was trying to get her to come tonight, but she needed to get going.
And this
But
is-
yes, there's a lot of lack of education, and that's her perception, and I
And this
agree
is
with
close
you.
to home too, just in Mankato, about a quarter of my class is Somali or Muslim, or it's 30 miles up the road, so I think that's a worthy discussion that we need to have.
Yeah.
here.
yeah, it might be worth a forum or somebody. I mean, like everybody, like your students, immigrants, people who are, different religions. It might be something that we might really need to do as part of the Human Rights Commission, because I'm really upset about it. I'm sure you guys are too.
Yeah.
So,
A great misunderstanding, that's
Okay.
education, that's all we need.
It just plays into fear. So, definitely education is what can alleviate that for a majority of the population.
sounds good. Okay, and December 28th is our next meeting. Is everybody able? Well, if we're not able to come, we're not able, but let's just assume
That's a Monday.
Monday.
I'm gonna be gone.
Yeah, and I'm thinking a lot of us will be gone, and we'll just play it by ear. I don't want to schedule another, so we'll just play it by ear and see where.
And you'll let us know the time.
And I'll let you go.
What did you say, the 28th?
It's the Monday after Christmas.
It's Monday
Oh, yeah,
after
but
Christmas, yeah.
is on Friday, is that
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying
yeah.
to think back.
So
Thought past
I,
Thanksgiving.
we'll see. Thank you, and I'd like to adjourn this meeting.